The California Rocklander is designed for those that sit somewhere in the middle of overlanding and rock crawling. To tell you the truth, we love both equally. We spend an equal amount of time in the rocks as we do on long expedition-style overland routes. The lure of rock crawling for us is the excitement and the technical aspect of the trails, while our favorite part about overlanding is the sights you see and the remoteness of these routes. Seemingly, this route felt designed for us. Per our usual fashion, we would experience issues shortly into this route that may end our trip early. For now, we are starting out in Julian, California, a small town near the border of Mexico. If you guys watched our video on the Olympics and in Moab, we slashed one of our tires in the patch with glue tread. Then in Moab we slashed it again, the same tire, put another glue tread patch on it. Well, tomorrow morning the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put 2 more slashes in that tire, wheel the whole Rocklander with 4 slashes in it. One of the slashes is going to have over 2,000 miles on it, so it's going to be crazy. Not even really on the route yet. I mean, we just touched it, got a camp right away. Coming down from camp, we broke our rear sway bar where it mounts to the frame, so not even the sway bar itself, but the actual mount. So we had a trail welder, we could fix it, but we don't. You can hear it's just slapping around back there. We're gonna have to, I guess, just unbolt the end link so that it's not flailing around. Where the sway bar end link bolts onto the frame broke. This is common on the Gladiator, and not that big of a deal. Though, it would be a sign of what is to come. Surrounded by amazing views, we continued into the heart of the California Rocklander. This tire is the same tire we put 1,000 miles on in the Olympics in Washington State, the same tire we wheeled some of Moab's iconic trails. Now we're in California at the Rocklander. We're going to actually put 2 additional slashes in it. One of these patches has over 2,000 miles on it, and we're going to wheel the entire 400 miles of the California Rocklander on a tire with 4 slashes in it, some new, some old. This route includes overlanding, rock landing, rock crawling. Perfect for what glue tread's made for. We made it to the squeeze. This was the obstacle I was most excited about. Now, this route obviously goes either direction. Most people have told me that the squeeze is easier going the other direction, and looking at it, I would most definitely agree. Had we been going the other direction, we would have had much less resistance getting through, and we probably wouldn't have broken something like we're about to do.
Okay.
At this point, we knew we either damaged an axle shaft, a ring and pinion, or a drive shaft. Fortunately, the Jeep was still moving under its own power. We were close to a highway and the nearest town. We opted to get the Jeep to the highway to assess what actually happened.
So we drove this far just in four-wheel drive, and potentially just with the front. It's kind of interesting, like, so the other thing it could be is we could have popped a ring and pinion and we were dead. But I don't hear any noise or anything going down the road. I don't know. Let's try. There is some play in the right direction. It's revving up, and then the transmission is shifting. And I'm in second. You know, and so, and then also these transfer cases don't like to shift unless you're rolling, so I'm having a hard time getting back into four-wheel drive. But if I want to show you guys, there it goes. I'm in four high now, so I can put it in reverse, and I'll put it in 2, and it will work, but it's going to drop out. Ooh, maybe that. See, I smell different. Mm-hmm. You smell that?
I do.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, so it dropped out at 2. It's in the rear diff. Yeah, we could test it. If it's in the rear diff, then me putting it in drive right now and giving it gas would be spinning the drop line.
So someone should look at the drive line?
Yeah, you want to go look?
Yep.
Want to do it with the camera?
Yep.
My money is, because I smell diff fluid, it could really suck if we broke the ringer pinion, but yeah, go check.
Hope that's not the case.
Yep.
Please don't be it. It's spinning. I think so.
Okay, so here's my theory. I've broken a lot of axle shafts. When that noise happened in the squeeze, I said right away, that's gotta be an axle shaft. It could be the ring and pinion, but here's what I'm thinking. If I had air lockers, I could test this theory, but I don't. Well, even E-locker, but not the factory E-locker. Or taser, but I don't have that either. I think it's the non-drive side axle shaft that broke. If it was the drive side axle shaft, because if you're unaware, there's only one tire that's being delivered any power in two-wheel drive back there when the lockers are not on. So when I put it in two-wheel drive, if I had an air locker or an E-locker aftermarket or a taser, I could engage the rear locker, and if it would move the Jeep then I would know that I would have one axle shaft that broke. I'm guessing it's my non-drive tire axle shaft that went, which is better. We could maybe source a factory shaft and just baby it. That's a Revolution gear and axle shaft, but everything breaks. Chromoly shaft still breaks. It's the factory Advantech Beta 44, so it's not a big axle shaft. That's obviously a much better problem because I can fix that in the dirt if I can get one. And I know I can get one. I just don't know how long it's going to take to get here. That's what I'm really hoping for. I don't know. But we'll probably get some things. We're almost to town. We'll probably get some things. Pull the diff cover off. See what happens. But hopefully that theory makes sense to you guys. And if I had the ability to turn on the rear locker only in two-wheel drive, see, because in four-wheel drive the front end will pull me, so it won't tell me whether the rear end is functioning or not. In two-wheel drive, if I could turn on a locker and if it propelled me forwards, then it would tell me it's an axle shaft and not a ring and pinion. Hope that makes sense.
We drove the Jeep into town in four-wheel drive. We were low on fuel, so naturally we went to a gas station to figure out our options. We fueled up, knowing our next step would be to locate a parts store and figure out what's going on in the rear end. Then this happened.
So in our Moab from Hell video, the truck, basically we had flexed out so much that we were hanging tires, which in theory stretched some of the factory wiring harnesses, causing either some frayed wires, some torn wires, or a wire or two ground out on the chassis, in theory. I'm kind of scratching my head. So here's what happened. We got to, this like point of interest here, this gas station, en route, fueled up, no problem, took a little break, and then the Jeep just wouldn't fire again. And it's the exact same problem. It's not getting fuel. So when this happened the first time, we put a new pump in it and it was fine. Then we went and wheeled Hell's Revenge and it died in the middle of Hell's. So something is causing the fuel pump to die. And I don't know what it is. The dealer had it fixed, and it was running for a long time, thousands of miles, and now here we are again. But it didn't die when we were wheeling it. It only died once we shut it off, then it wouldn't start back up, but zero signs that it was going to fail. So I need to do a ton of research. So if we can put a pump in this, I think our best bet is just to drive it home, because obviously flexing this thing out is what's causing the pumps to fail somehow. I don't know why. But something's happening. It's like just frustrating. It's like disheartening, you know. So right now, since it won't start, we're waiting for a tow truck to tow us half a mile down the road to the shop. Literally, we can basically see it, but they don't want to rope tow it. So we don't have a choice.
At this point in our trip, we stopped filming. Luckily, the gas station owner was a super cool guy. McKaylee wrote on the bumper while spraying starter fluid into the intake so we could move the Jeep to an accessible location for the tow truck. The gas station owner thought that this was hilarious. The next morning, the local shop would determine this job was over his head. We had to have the Jeep towed to a shop in San Diego, and we flew home. We now know what the actual issue with the Jeep was. The first shop we took it to believed I was stretching wiring harnesses, which is why I believed it happened again. This ended up not being the case at all. Fast forward a few weeks, we would fly back to San Diego to embark on another adventure and head straight for Utah, where things would go bad again. But this time, not for me. In the next episode, we'll talk about the actual problems the Jeep was having, and as far as the rear end, I was right, axle shaft. We address that in the next video too. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much. And if you feel like we've earned it, consider hitting the subscribe button.